Hey guys, welcome to another video. So this is episode 2 of Raptor Flowchart, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do inputs and outputs for basic pseudocodes, and basically teaching you your first ever program that you're going to be writing in Raptor. So this is a big step for today if you are new to Raptor or any type of computer programming. If you are in a computer logic class, most likely you are if you're using Raptor. You're going to be getting throughout your course pseudocodes, mostly like debugging. That's the whole part of it. That's the biggest part of coding, especially if you're in computer science, is debugging and working around algorithms. And that's the beautiful thing about Raptor, like I said last episode. It's an algorithm trainer. So today we're going to be taking the first ever pseudocode that I ever got as a kid, or as like 3 or 4 years ago in college. Is the first ever one I ever got was turning pounds into ounces. And I still remember to this day, I was so lost, didn't understand it. I thought I was going to have to drop out of classes because I thought algorithms were too rough or whatever. But it's just taking a problem and making it simpler. You know, that's all coding is. You know, coding is to make your life simple. So today we're going to start out by using our first ever input because we want to break down this problem. We want to basically take the user's input of pounds, and we want to take that amount of pounds and we want to turn it into ounces. And then we want to output that as a cool little telltale, like, oh, this is how many ounces you get from this many pounds. You know, so we basically already broke down the whole program. Now that we broke down the whole program, we want to put it into effect, right? So our first aspect in that whole situation was asking the user how many pounds they want to transfer over to ounces. So we want to do an input. It's a little different, it's a little different than what it would usually be like a code or whatever, but we're going to be entering our prompt here. So a prompt is what's going to pop up when it's asked for a user's input. It's basically going to be the text, I would say. So what we want it to be, it of course has to be in these closed, double quotes. We want to be like enter the amount. I'm not wrong. Oh my goodness, of pounds you want to transfer to ounces. That might be a horrible way of saying it, but I just made it simple. I basically made it so the user has an easier time doing it. So what we want to do is we want to assign a variable for this input. So when we input the amount that we want of pounds that we want to turn into ounces, that input has to be stationed and stored somewhere. And it's going to be stored in our variable called pounds. So this variable is going to be created. So whenever the user puts in, like, let's say 1 or 5, this pound, that 1 or 5 integer is going to be stationed in pounds. And whenever we call upon pounds in the future, it's going to take that amount that was assigned to the pounds variable and divide it, multiply it, do whatever it needs to do to another variable or whatever it needs to do. So yeah, that's what basically it's going to be doing, because you're going to get pounds. You're going to get the variable. So it creates a variable for you. So now that we got our pounds, what's the next step? We want to take pounds and we want to multiply it by 16, right? Because there's 16 ounces in a pound. You don't want to divide it, it's just a little different. You just kind of got to think around it, think around the problems. It's the whole point of it. So what we want to do is we want to set a new variable. So this is going to be total ounces as well. You're going to be learning this as well in classes. Your second word is going to be capitalized. So kind of avoid underscores too. Raptor doesn't like that. And but if you're in Python, whatever, underscores are very much appreciated, especially since you don't really have to capitalize the second wording or whatever. If you do, then you're kind of weird. But so we want total ounces to be our variable, and we want that variable to be assigned to this type of problem. So what we want to do is we want to take our variable pounds and we want to multiply it by 16, because that gives us 16 ounces. 16 ounces to a pound. So we have our pound, let's say, for instance, we put in 5 pounds. Then we want 5 to be times by 16 because there's 16 ounces in a pound. And that tells us how many ounces are going to be in that pound. So after we do this, we press done. It's going to tell you basically what's going to happen. This problem is going to be stored in this variable right here. So now that we have that problem, the whole basic thing, we want to do an output. So we did outputs last episode, and so you should be able to remember what else we need to do. So we're going to do our double quotes. Actually, I'll do single double quotes right now, but I'm going to do a little bit fancy. I'm going to one-up everything that I did last episode. So let's say this is the amount of ounces, and then I like to do a space, do that, and then do plus pounds. Plus pounds basically is calling upon that variable, and then I do another space. And for some reason, Raptor makes you do a plus before your next, basically, I would say like your next sequence of text. I learned this by doing it in class, and I just remember for some reason years later, because it's become something so in depth of me. I used Raptor a lot. Even when I wasn't doing assignments, I was looking up pseudocode problems, just taking problems, creating my own problems, and just getting used to it. Test yourself, get big problems, and break it down. Especially when it comes to the arrays and stuff, those are so fun to work with. And like in ranges, selections, loops, they just become so fun. So you'll find yourself playing with Raptor for no reason, and that's a good thing. So we want this to be like, this is the amount of ounces in plus pounds, which plus pounds is going to put in, like, let's say it's 5 pounds. And it's going to be, this is the amount of ounces in 5 pounds. And then we want to add another statement. Or we can, we want to do another statement, but I'm just going to make it like that. So then it goes ahead and that, and then I want to do total ounces. So after we're done, it's going to say this is the amount of ounces in 5 pounds. And then it's going to put the semicolons. I like that. And then do another space. And then I did that. Oh, I really do need to do another space. I hate when it does that. No, I want that. There we go. I do another space there. To make it a little bit more cleaner, to make those spaces not interline with each other. And whenever we run this program, I like to do it from up here. I don't like to do step by step. You can do step by step. It's just an easier way for you to debug it for yourself. But you don't really need to, especially if you just press play, I'll debug it for you. But go ahead and start. It's going to go down here. It's going to say into the amount of pounds you want to transfer to ounces. Well, let's say we want to transfer 1 so we can see if the math is going good. So 1 pound. We want to transfer that to ounces. This is the amount of ounces in oh yeah, forgot, that looks stupid. In 1, and then we wanted to do pounds. And then there we go. So then we run it again. It's going to do that. We do 1. It's going to output. This is the amount of ounces in 1 pound. Or I guess I could just do it like, get like that, because it looks. I'm like a grammar freak, I guess. I don't know why, but it'll be that bad. So it's a choice if it's either not pound or pounds. So I got 1 pound. So there we go. This is the amount of ounces in 1 pound pounds, and it's 16. So that's great. So we have 16. So there you go. We just basically found out the pseudocode. We broke it down. We interpreted it. We learned more about inputs, and we learned more about assignments and outputs. And as you can see, it's easier than really looks like. Raptor helps you out a lot, especially. It's a little touchy on some sorts of places, but it shouldn't be that hard to learn. Kind of learn its like niches. Like I told you guys with the plus before this right here, you'll sometimes, it's a little weird. Sometimes you won't care for it, but sometimes I just do it just in case. But it makes sure it adds it for some reason. But yeah, there you guys go. That's your first ever program you ever wrote in any type of language. But I also do want to show you guys a little bit of something too. As you guys can see that how we did the inputs, I do want you guys to see that if you are in a computer logic class that does have you working with debugging in Python, or it's also teaching you Python with it. I've heard a lot of friends that had to do with that, that did different classes than I did. Some professors are different. So I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about the Python way to do it. So I wanted to walk you with it just in case. So let's say T is going to be our variable. Let's say T, let's say we want to do an input, then we just do input, and then you do like that, or double quotes. It depends on what your professor wants you to do, and that's how you do an input. That's for, there's something for double quotes is string. This is a float, not float, an integer. But if you really want to do it, you just basically do like integer, and then you close it out double times. That's technically how you do it if you want to do integer. Strings, do str for string, or for float, you do just float. And that's kind of what I do when I program with my websites with softwares, etc. And it becomes a little bit different because sometimes some things take a little bit different, and I like to label everything the way I do. But if you are, so basically this whole system's just doing like an input, you know, like this. But then you can also choose to do etc. stuff. So it's a little different, but that's how you basically do like the inputting in Raptor and also in Python a little bit. And I like it. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys did learn a little bit of something. My next episode, I'll be teaching you guys about the looping, and then we'll be doing selections, and then we'll also be doing like calling upon declarations, different pages, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy, and please hit the subscribe button. Check out my last video if you haven't, and hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.